What is up guys, welcome back to another video. Today we are looking at what I'm doing right now in the TBC Prepatch to prepare for TBC Classic itself, so I know I'm as prepared as possible. I am making this video hoping it might help some of you figure out what to do or what to prioritize during the Prepatch itself, as well as maybe give you some ideas on a couple of things you will want to do before the release of TBC Classic. Make sure you stay until the end of the video, as I will also cover a little trick that you can use to actually start farming for level 70 gear right now. So with that said, let's go. So I was originally going to farm some Honored and Battleground marks for rank 14 weapons, as well as a couple of pieces of armor, just to gear myself up a little bit, but after the recent nerf to honor gains in the TBC Prepatch, that plan is no longer active. Basically, for the first day of the TBC Prepatch we had an insane amount of honor gains, and it was obviously way too much, and then Blizzard nerfed it by 10x, which is probably actually closer to the original Prepatch values of Vanilla WoW back in the day, but we also had a 6-week Prepatch back in Vanilla, if I remember correctly, while right now we only have 2 weeks. Personally, I would prefer if they just left the honor gains unchanged from the first day, but realistically, even with insane honor gains, I would still abandon my rank 14 gearing plan, because I'm playing Alliance, and I played 8 Arathi Basins on the first day of the Prepatch, and we only won 1. I also spoke to multiple friends who had the same thing happen, and I also checked multiple Alliance Discords, and there were legitimate pre-made groups being made where people lose on purpose, so apparently as Alliance you just have to accept defeat, and it will take ages to farm those marks, and to be honest, my time is better spent doing pretty much anything else, because that rank 14 gear would be replaced fairly quickly, in TBC anyway, and you will be more than fine without it as well. So my main in TBC will be a Druid, and I didn't actually have a Druid in Classic WoW from before, and instead of leveling 1 up from scratch, I use my level 58 boost on a Druid, so I can start prepping professions on that character. Yeah, I don't like the boost, but it's in the game, so I'm going to use it. Now, to set myself up for gold making and gold farming in the Burning Crusade, I have chosen to go for herbalism and mining on my Druid, so I need to spend quite some time skilling up those professions, as I will need to skill up both herbalism and mining from 1 to 300 before TBC comes out. On top of that, I also want to give myself the option to fish for gold in TBC as well, so I'm going to skill up fishing as well. Therefore, I'm actually quite happy that my rank 14 PvP gear plan have been abandoned, because skilling up herbalism, mining and fishing will take quite some time, and if I had to grind PvP gear as well on top of that, it could become really clutch on whether or not I would actually be able to do everything before the Prepatch was over. Now, when my Druid is level 60 and has herbalism, mining and fishing at max level, or max skill, I will need to farm up some gold again, because I'm going to buy epic riding on my newly boosted Druid as well, so I can speed up my profession skill up process. Plus the fact that I believe you need to have trained epic mount riding before you can train your flying anyway, so at some point I will need to spend that gold on epic mount riding in Classic WoW anyway, so I might as well do it now. That will set me back about 600 gold, meaning my previous 2.5k gold is now 1.9k gold, and I want to be as close to 4k gold as possible before TBC comes out. So what I'm trying to do right now is sell off some of my TBC Prepatch investments, like I had invested in a lot of Mithril ore and Thorium ore, as well as some lower level gems for jewel crafting, all of which I've made insane profits on, so I should get some gold back from selling those. In worst case scenario, I also have about 1000 large billion shards sitting in my bank that I can sell off as well, and right now those are selling for about 4 gold each on my server, so if I really need the gold, I can just sell those. But my primary gold farming plan for the TBC Prepatch is to sell a couple of mage boosts, not a lot, but enough to get me 1000 gold, or maybe 2000 gold. As of right now, mages on my server are selling set G boosts for 35 gold in duo boosts, meaning that you're getting 70 gold plus mob loot per run, so assuming 5 runs per hour, that is 350 gold per hour, plus the mob loot as well, from a fairly easy mage boost. You could also boost Maraudon for even more gold per hour, but with the AoE cap we have right now in the Prepatch, way less mages are actually able to do the Maraudon boost, because the skill ceiling has been raised a little bit. So by using my mage for a couple of hours, I should be able to stock up on a decent amount of gold, and the reason why prices for boost have gone up a bit in the TBC Prepatch is pretty simple. There's more people leveling alts because there's 2 new races, and each faction now has a new class, and less mages are boosting because, well, first of all, it's harder to boost, plus some mages might be busy leveling alts. So there's more demand for boosts and less supply for the boosts, which also means higher prices for the boosts, which means that the mages that are boosting will make a lot more gold. Now, even though I don't really particularly like mage boosting nor the meta itself, I have used it through the entirety of Classic WoW, and I can suffer through a couple more boosts to get myself the gold I need for the launch of TBC. If you don't have a mage, there's also many other ways of making gold, but they probably won't be as effective. If I can do all of this and still have some time to spare, I am going to switch around some professions on my characters, as well as skill up as many tailors and alchemists as possible. My goal is to have herbalism and mining on my rogue and druid, enchanting and skinning on my paladin, tailoring and alchemy on my mage, and maybe even tailoring and alchemy on my hunter. My rogue already has maxed out the herbalism and mining, my druid is a work in progress, and my mage already has the right professions, but my hunter currently has skinning and leatherworking, and I'm really thinking of changing that to alchemy and tailoring, just for passive gold. My paladin also has no profession, so my paladin will require a lot of work as well, although skinning is very easy to skill up. My rogue, druid, and paladin will be my active gold farmers, my mage and hunters will just craft transmutes, and spellcloth for gold. Now let's talk about a couple other preparations that I've done for TBC Classic that isn't directly game related or in-game professions. First off, you will need to make sure you know which add-ons do or do not work at TBC's launch, and disable add-ons that don't work, as that will mess with your game. Preferably, you should launch the game without add-ons in the beginning, to reduce your loading screens as well. That is not really preparation, but it's knowledge you should have in advance of TBC's launch. Secondly, I've taken 2 weeks off from work, so I can fully enjoy the launch of the expansion, which is also why I'm kinda happy I don't have to do the rank 14 PvP grind, because I have to work a little bit extra right now to get that break at the launch itself. One more in-game advice that I would recommend is to pre-make macros and copy them and save them in a text file on your computer so you can make those macros more quickly, especially macros that are important for you while leveling. Most of you will probably have most of your abilities already now in the TBC Prepatch, so to most of you this won't be a huge issue, but some classes do get access to pretty important abilities as they level up in TBC, and having the macros ready for those abilities can save you a couple of minutes. It's not much, but it's better to be prepared. At the end of the day, my most important preparations is to try to enter TBC with as much gold as possible, but once again I don't want to farm so much that I burn out before TBC comes out. Skilling up the vanilla professions that I want is also important to me, so I can experience TBC without having to go back to vanilla content just to skill up professions. One more last minute advice that I have for you is that even though it might not be worth it to farm battleground marks for the rank 13 and rank 14 gear from the Prepatch, it might be worth farming those marks for level 70 PvP gear, as that gear can also be purchased with marks, and there's a fairly high likelihood that marks will not be reset at launch. And that's pretty much it, guys. That is what I'm doing, plus a couple of tips on what you can do to prepare for TBC. Let me know in the comments below exactly what you are doing to prepare for TBC, hit the like button for the algorithm, and subscribe for more content. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon.